Hi everybody, hope you're doing well. In this series of performance videos, this is number 3, Amazing Grace. At this point, we would have had 2 new theory subjects introduced in the Hal Leonard book. One is on page 16 and it's called Pickup Notes, and it introduces what an incomplete measure is in music, and it's exactly what it sounds like. There is a 4/4 time signature, and there is perhaps just 2 notes in the measure, which would be beats 3 and 4. It might be in 3/4, and there's only 1 note in the measure, that would be beat 3. That's how Amazing Grace starts. There is a beginning measure that's incomplete, and there's only 1 quarter note in that 3/4 measure. We are in 3/4 time, and again, it's very important that you count the proper way when you have to do the test. And of course, when you're reading any piece of music, counting the right number of beats in a measure. And we would start on beat 3. 1, 2, and you'd play the first note in the piece. There's also another concept that was page 16. This is page 20, which is called a tie. And a tie is a curved line that could go up or down, depending on how high the note is written on the staff. And it connects 2 of the same notes. It connects 2 of the same notes, which means the same note head. And what it does is it combines their rhythm together. So if you have a half note tied to a quarter note, it's 3 beats. It gives us the option of holding a note over the bar line. So normally we'd fit 4 beats or 3 beats neatly into a measure. Now we can actually hold a note past the measure line when we use a tie, which is a very helpful musical device to create different rhythms. So in Amazing Grace, we see a dotted half note in the middle of the piece, which is a D on the B string, tied to another D, which is a half note, dotted half 3 beats, half note 2 beats. The note should ring for 5 beats total. You do not restrike the second note. Again, you can read the explanation, number 42 on page 20 at the top of the page. There's another tie at the end of the piece of music, which is G, 2 Gs, open G, middle G, we could say, and it's a dotted half tied to a half note, which is going to give you a total of 5 counts again. And the last measure is incomplete. By that I mean there's only 2 beats in the last measure. If I was going to repeat the verse, I would start over in the beginning by playing the tied dotted half and half note, let it ring for 5 beats, and on the final beat of the second measure, the very end of the piece, I would play the pickup note again, the beat 3 that starts with the word amazing. And you'll see how I do that when I play it now. So remember, I'm getting this list of pieces and the information of what to do under class number 6 in my PDF of the class schedule. It says I must pick one of the pieces, play it 3 times, saying the letter names 1 time, counting out loud 1 time, and playing musically 1 time. And remember, I do not grade on speed here. I'm only grading on how correct the notes are and how the rhythms are correct, if the rhythms are correct. So not on speed, but on correct notes and rhythms. The relations of the rhythms have to be related to the beat. 2 beats for a half note, 3 beats for a dotted half, 4 beats for a whole note. So here's Amazing Grace. I'll get a little closer again. Remember, I'm not grading on speed. These are basically an open book test. You could write whatever you want on your score to help you figure this out, letter names and counting on the score. I allow that in the normal in-class test when we do it, and students often write in the information that'll help them. So again, bobbing our head or tapping our foot to help us keep the beat. One thing to watch out for before I play is there are 2 Ds in this piece, and by that I mean open D. So watch out for the D that's below the staff, and then in the middle of the piece there's a high D, and that is in the very middle of the piece. It happens a couple times. It's the tied note, and then a measure after the tied note, the high D. Make sure you're playing the correct D in the right place. The low D comes back in the bottom line, because that's something I would be grading on. That's something that you would get knocked off for points off for if you don't play correctly. So here we go. 1, and again, notice the pickup measure. I'll start on 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, B, B, A, G, E, D, D, G, B, B, A, D. That's the high D. B, D, B, G, E, G, E, D, D, G, B, B, A, G. Okay, that time I counted first. It doesn't matter what order you do it in. That time I counted first, and I kept counting just to show how I linked the end of the piece back to the beginning. So make sure you switch to letter names when you do the performance with the letter names. Not grading on speed. It's an open book test again. There's a lot of open strings in this piece, Amazing Grace, and there's a low D and a high D. And also remember this particular piece, it's a little more ornamented, or there's more notes, you could say, when we hear people sing this. For example, that kind of thing in the middle of the piece. The assignment is to read what's on the page. You're trying to demonstrate to me that you can interpret what's on the page correctly and clearly. Don't do anything to alter these pieces. Sometimes people will perform them for me and they'll say, it didn't sound right, so I did my own version. That is not the assignment. The assignment is to prove to me that you can take what's on the page and play it on your guitar. So don't change any of these pieces. Don't change any of the notes, and just practice them as they are. You can watch the videos again to help you with the notes and rhythms. That's all for now, guys, and we'll do a 4th video for when the Saints go marching in. Have a great day.